post, get, and HTTP method in your Spring application. We have others, put, patch, and delete, which will come in the next couple of videos. So we have this HTTP method. It represents the client intention. The client uses them to express which action to apply on a specific resource. Okay, so we have get, which means the client requests to retrieve data. Post, the client requests to send new data. We have put, the client requests to change data on the server side. We have patch, the client requests to partially changes data on the server side. We also have delete, the client request to delete data on the server side. Okay, so here is our will use some data that we have in the user service class, that is some method, and it will process them, then send them to the view. Okay, so this is the changes that we have. So let's go and implement this. So you can see we will create this. In this tutorial we will add user and display the list of user here, that is the application similar to the real world app. Okay, so let's do this together. Okay, now our application will be getting closer and closer to the real world application, and let's create first a model here. That is, we need a package for the model class. Package, and name this model. So let's create new class, user. Okay, this user will have the private string, that is first name, string first name, and then followed by, okay, so let's generate getters and setters for this field. Here in the source, generate getters and setters, select all, generate. Okay, so now the next thing, we will change this controller. We will have it inside our package as well. So let's create a controller package, new package, and name it controller. So we will delete this home controller. We are not longer using the home controller. Okay, so before having the controller implementation, let's have the service inside the package. Service. Okay, so we will have the user service which our controller will use. Okay, new class, user service. Okay, for now, to store data I will use array list, and in the next videos you will learn about the Spring Data JPA, and we will store data in the database. So let me use the list, and we'll add users. So here we need of this. We will define two methods in this class, user service, and we need to annotate this with add service. Okay, to add this to the Spring container. Okay, so the first method that we will use is adding users. Let's define a public void add user. So we will receive this user from the parameter user. Okay, so we will use users dot add user. Okay, this is all we need here. And the next method is to return a list of users, which will display to the view. So we need a public. This will be a list user. So find users. Okay, this will be the name of the method, find users, and we will return users. That is all. So the first method is to add users, and the second method is to return the list of users. So now let's go to the controller package that we create. We will add a new class inside this. Okay, and this class will be a user controller. Okay, so the first thing, we will annotate this with at controller, and we need to have connection with the user service. So let's define the private user service. Here it is. Okay, source generate constructor using field generate. Okay, it's okay like this. Now the first method we need to define is for the viewing users. Okay, so let's have public, and this will be string view users. Okay, so and this is the controller method, which will return user page. Let's have it like this. So this will return user page. Okay, so and we will need to add the list of users to the view. So we will create a page name users later. So to add the list of users to the view, we need a model. Don't forget that model. Okay, so first we need to access the list of users from the user service, and let me say the list of users and have this as users equal to, we use the user service to access find users. That is the method that will return the list of users. So now what we need to is to send this to the view dot add attribute name will be users. So the attribute value is also users. Okay, so now we need to add the request mapping so that we associate the incoming request with this action, that is the method. Okay, but we need to, since that we retrieve data using this method, we need to specify the HTTP method. So we use path and add the URL. We said the URL is users, and we need to add a method, and the method will be method get. Sorry, we have request method get. Okay, so this is what we use here. Okay, so to simplify this, we just use we have annotation at get mapping, so it knows that it is get request. So we just need to add the URL like this and set these to users. Okay, so the next thing is for the next method is for adding users. Let add public string and name this add users. So for this we will return another page, and this page will name it @user. @user, we will create these users and @user page later in the front end, that is inside the template. Okay, so now let's have the process of adding user. We receive this from the request parameter, so we need to use @request param string. So what will be, we need a first name, okay, and we need a couple of these again, email. Okay, so let's define a new user object. So user equal to new user. So, and we will set these values. User dot set first name to first name, and then user dot set last name to last name, and then user dot set email to email that we will receive from the request parameter. You will learn about the request parameter. So the equivalent of the get mapping for the post here is we will use @post mapping, and then we will name these @user. Okay, so the next thing we will do, now that we add this, we have our list. So we'll use the user service dot, now we will access the @user, and we will add this user to the list. Okay, that is what we have here. So the next thing is the front end of our application. We finish with this backend, the controller, and the service. We will start working on the front end of this action. We will create a page users, that is, it will display a list of users. So let's go to the template, create new HTML file with the name users. Okay, we have this home from the previous tutorial. Let's delete this home. Okay, so here is the page users that we create, and let me change the name to users. So we will use Bootstrap so that our app will look beautiful. So let's go to the browser and look for Bootstrap 5. So we have this first link, and we will copy the link. Here is the link. Okay, so let's go back to the project and paste this link. So the next thing we will do is we'll start having the code. So we'll start with a div of a class container. Okay, so inside this we will have a cat, so it's also a div with a class cat, and we need a cat header and a cat body. So this will be another div with the, we'll start with the cat header. Okay, and then we need also a cat body, div cat body with a class card body. Okay, so now we'll start with this card header where we'll have just a h2, okay, with the text list of users, and we'll give it a class as well. The class will be text center, that will display it at the center of this container. Okay, so the next thing we need is a table that will display users table. We need a table header and the table body t head. Okay, so the next thing we'll start with the table head, where we will have a row. Okay, so the row will have this table header, table body. We need also a table row. Okay, so what we will do, we'll need to iterate over a list of users and display each user. Okay, so here we need the teamleaf attribute th each, and we set for each user in the users. Remember, in the user controller we are sending these users as the attribute name, so we use these users here to iterate over a list of users. So we need a td table data. Okay, so we will display first name, last name, email. Okay, so first let's have a th text, that is, it will display a text. Okay, so if you have this, we need this attribute, then access user dot first name, and then email last name, then email last name, and then we need email. So we finish with this implementation. That is all we need to do. We have first name, last name, email, and here we iterate over a list of users and display each user. So now the next thing we need to do is to have another page for adding users. So let's create new order. Here HTML file, we need to have add user, that is the name of the page. Okay, to make this simple, let's go to the users, copy what we have here in the users and paste it here. So we just need to start changing from here, add user page. Okay, that is the title, add user page, and then here we will change this to add user. So we will no longer use table here, so let's delete this. Okay, the entire table. Now we have the card body. So inside this card body we'll have a form. Okay, so let's have a form, and let's have attribute for the form. So the first thing is the action. So we will map the action to which URL. So let's check and see. we have this add user. So let's go to the add user page and paste it, and the method, that is the request, is to pause, okay, to send data. Okay, as simple as this. So what next is that we need the input field. So let's have this input field. First we need a div. So this div is the form group. We will have a class form group, that is the CSS defined class, mb3, like this. Okay, so for each, this will have the label, and this will be face name. Okay, so and we'll have the input as well, input. So inside this we need first a type. So what will be the type is text, because we are submitting the text, and the name is first name. So this input field component will submit this as a request parameter with a name, first name. What we have inside the input field, it will be the value for the first name. It is like a key value pair, as we discussed in the last tutorial. Okay, so we'll duplicate this. So and add for the email. First let's have last name, and then we will change this. Make sure you change this, because this is the value. Okay, this represents the value, so we'll change this to email, and as well this will be email. Okay, so this is what we have so far, and we will give the input a class form control. So let's have a class for each input, class form control. So we'll duplicate this for each input, and then as well. So okay, so we finish with the implementation of the front end for but. So the next thing, we will have a submit button. That is the last thing we will have here, button to submit. Okay, and the type of this is submit, and we will have a class for this button. Let's say btn primary. Okay, so and set the text to submit. Okay, now we have for the action users to display users, and we have for the action to add users. So this is what we have. Let's relaunch this. Okay, and check the URL. First we will check how it looks, that is the users and add users. So the application started. Let's check in the browser. Localhost 8080, we have users. Okay, you see we have first name, last name, email. Okay, so there is something we forget. It is not supposed to be like this. Okay, so let's go to the users. This table a class, bootstrap class. That's why we are having this class equal to table, and the style for the table will give it table strip. Okay, so that is all we need here. Let's save the change. Let's rerun this. Okay, now we can go and refresh this page. Okay, you see now we settle this matter. Okay, the next thing we will do is to check for the local host, that is at user URL, to see. Okay, we are having this error because we did not define the get mapping, that is action that will get the page. So it is only a post mapping. Let's go back to the user controller, and you can see we have only post mapping. So let's define a get mapping. Okay, so at get mapping, and we will have at user as well. So on what next, then the method public string get at user page. Okay, so and this will just return a page name. We have at user. Okay, so this is what we just need here. And let's see, first let we run the program. Okay, so we will see how our at user page look like now once they finish running. Okay, let's go back to the at user and now try to access. You see here is our at user. Okay, now when we submit a name, we want a name to be visible directly in the user's page. So when we submit, we want it to redirect out to the user page. So we need to go back again to the page. So we need to have a redirect here. It will redirect us to the users page so that we can see the new users that is added. So now let's run this program again. So if it runs, then we try to add a users. So it started. Let's go to these. The first name, that is my name Aliyu, the last name Sahabo, and then email Aliyu Sahabo Adam. You can see, let's submit. So you see it takes us to this page. When we try to add another user in the local host at user, so you can see, oh, let's have something like, let me write Haider Adam, and then let me set ha@gmail.com. You can see we have two names. Okay, so this is what we have here. See you in the next video on this playlist.